Hey, it's Ashley, and we are live on the Western Fashion Behind the Scenes podcast. Today, I have one of my favorite returning guests, Dakota Dawn Johnson, is here, and I'm very excited. Welcome, Dakota.
Oh, thank you, Ashley. Great to be back.
I am excited because I see that you are educating people about sales skills and salesmanship. And this has been a huge topic. We've had a lot of girls want to get into the industry and want to understand how it works. And I tell them all the time, there's no secret, it's just sales. And they don't like that, right? There's a lot of pushback around the idea. So I'd love to hear from you how you have utilized this idea of sales to turn it into something fun and palatable for people.
Ashley, I feel like there's usually, I don't want to say always, but typically like this negative connotation around selling. And people are like, oh, that car salesman feel or whatever. I'm on a mission to debunk that because when you are persuading for good, when you are selling someone a product or a service that you know is going to help solve problems in their life, that's a great thing. I'm on a mission to help people understand that's what I do for a living. I work for Ariat International, but I also am a ranch wife and a mom, and I have my own small business. And the reason I'm able to navigate all of those things and in somewhat of a successful manner, it's definitely a juggle, but the only way I can manage those things successfully is because I have sales skills. And so literally I was telling somebody the other day, whether I'm selling rodeo sponsorships or I'm closing a deal in corporate America or trying to get my kids in the car on time for school or church, it's sales skills. That's what I'm doing. And so I really think there's such a great opportunity to educate people in all industries, but my heart really lies in our Western industry because I know that there are so many great products, services, people out there, and they just want to, like you said earlier, they're very standoffish when it comes to the idea of selling. And so if we can help them shift that narrative, have a different mindset, oh man, the opportunities are endless for them.
Yeah. So let's just pretend that I don't know anything about sales, which could be true. My dad is really cool. He always says he gets up and he's a professional pack clinic teacher. So he teaches people how to pack into the mountains. But he'll stand up there and say, what you should know is you can learn something from everyone. So you don't know anything about anything, especially when you meet people that do know something, you'll realize you don't know anything. And so I love the idea that we don't know anything about this. So if I didn't know anything about sales, where would I start? And I wanted to get a sales job in the Western industry.
Yeah. So I think this is going to sound so basic. And it's not really even just for getting a job in the Western industry, but just sales in general. Two of the things that are going to make people remember you in a positive way and make them want to do business with you or share your name with somebody else is if you respect their time. And so, one of a couple of the best ways that you can show somebody you respect their time, even before you've ever met them, is you do what you say you're going to do. So if you say, hey, Ashley, or if I was say, hey, Ashley, I want to talk to you for 15 minutes, share this idea with you. Would you have 15 minutes? Be prompt, be on time, and don't take 30. Be mindful of that because they're going to remember that. And you want them to have a really great first impression memory of this girl does what she says she'll do. And then always come at it from the angle of under promise, over deliver. So if you say, hey, I'm going to be back in your store 2 weeks from now on this day to count your inventory and tell you what you sold, then do that. Don't just say, yeah, I'll be back in a couple of weeks or whatever. Just be very specific because time is, while money is our currency, I just feel like more and more people are understanding time is really the currency. If we can respect people's time, that allows them to go make more money. And really just keeping that at the forefront of mind. Do what you're going to do, what you say you're going to do, and respect people's time. That's really going to help you get your foot in the door, regardless of what industry. Because when you're in sales, people will buy stuff from people that they like, even if they don't need it. And I know that's probably not what people want to think, but if there's not a level of respect and a genuine kind of relationship partnership there that you build, you can have the best product in the world and people won't buy it from you if they don't like, know, and trust you.
And this is something Aria's done really well, is the like no trust factor, right? She gave it away in the beginning a lot because she wanted people to like, know, and trust her. And that was amazing, right? She still does a ton of giveaways. They're over and above what you would expect for a normal company. And that's what leads to the no trust factor working, I think. Right? Because you can like no trust someone, but then if you don't show up on time, I still don't. Even if I built that with you, it doesn't really work. Money seems to come from people you like, no trust, and that do what they say they're going to do and that show up. And right,
Yeah.
there's a simple flow to that. If you were training a sales specialist and someone was already selling things and they had hit a cap, right? How do they grow? What are some things that they could think about?
I think that we oftentimes all I'm guilty of this, like, we get in a hurry and it's like thinking, "How do we get to the next thing? How do we take care of the next person?" Where sometimes if you just really take that pause and dive I would just say get in the weeds, like, dive into the details and really put on your I refer to it as a buyer's hat. So when I'm selling, I'm thinking as I've grown in my salesmanship journey, my sales specialist journey, what everything I do is very purposeful. And I'm thinking about the person on the other end of that business transaction, if you will, that partnership. How can I make their life easier? For example, let's say that I have an account and I know that I need to meet with them to show them the fall line. We're showing fall 24 product right now. So we're recording this in November. It's a really busy time of year in retail. The last thing that they want to do is dedicate like 4 hours to come and look through every single piece of clothing on my rack, like all these things. So, what I would do and what I do for my accounts is I pare that down, I build it out for them, and a lot of work goes in on the front end for me to where I'm like, hey, you have four ways in your store that house Ariat product. Those four ways, they'll hold 72 units apiece. That means we need 8 styles of four way. This is what your delivery dates would look like. I do all of that so that when they walk in and they look at it, they may tell me they don't like that blue plaid shirt and they want this red paisley shirt. That's an easy change, but instead I've saved them time and energy because I've taken the details, the time to get into the details so they didn't have to. And then really that next step actually I feel like is so important is a follow-up. So just recapping it and saying, "Hey, here's an email of what we did today." Even if you have photos of that, just like really going above and beyond from a place of, "Let me make this easy for them," because that in turn is just going to catapult you, not just in your career, but honestly, just in like you're putting good out into the world, you're gonna get good back.
I think that's the key though, is you go above and beyond, you're always going to be remembered, right? No one's ever going to say, "Oh, dang, I wish they would have never done that." So what you're saying though is really true, right? They remember how you made them feel. They remember if you went above and beyond. They remember if you were totally cool with last minute. They remember if you were totally okay if things didn't go okay. They remember if you were not totally okay if things didn't go okay. And these are some other things that salesmanship is important. And then what happens when your deliveries are late? And oh, girl, yeah.
Yeah. We could oh, Ashley, I, like, nerd out on this stuff just because I've been doing it for over a decade, specifically with Ariat in the Western industry, but even prior to that, it to me, selling is not just a business transaction. It is truly formulating a partnership there. It's a win work is what I like to say. If we're both working, we're both winning. If we're meeting in the middle and when you said that, it made me think about a lot of my retailers I've worked with in the years past. I'd have moms and dads, and like they're juggling these, they're running full time businesses, trying to, and they have this 3 hour time frame in the day where then they've got to stop in the middle of a meeting to go pick up a kid for soccer practice or bring one with them. And so one of my managers traveled with me one time to Western Kansas, and he was like, "Why do you have an these games on your iPad and crayons and like toys in your deal?" And I was like, "Oh, because she's going to bring her two boys in here and we've got a solid 45 minutes to get through what should take us 3 hours. And I'm going to make sure the kids are in good shape. They're going to have snacks. Like I know what they like." And honestly, like it just, when you know your retail partners and stuff at that level, you just want to help them provide them the best experience possible, and sometimes that's literally making sure there's something to entertain their kids while they place the buy. I'm just willing to do that. I'd like to think that if and when I'm ever on the other end of that situation, somebody's gonna go above and beyond for me, and so I just think I would be remiss to say to Ashley, you asked earlier, how does somebody get their foot in the door? I think one of the greatest tools now that is out there is the Of the West platform that Jesse Jarvis created. Before, it was like looking for a needle in a haystack if you wanted to find a job at Ariat or Wrangler, or all these other great companies in the Western industry or just ag related in general. But Jesse and her team, they've just done a tremendous job of the West of where people that want jobs in the Western industry, like, I'd say that is the place to go to find them.
I love that, of the West. I'll put that in the notes. I'm excited. So coming up, are you going? Are you excited?
I
Tell me
am.
what's going on in
I
your
am.
world.
Yes, I'm so excited, actually. I didn't think I would get to go. It's been, like, 7 years since I've been to the NFR, and my husband and I, we're gonna fly out, that very first weekend for just a couple of days to spend it with some college friends, and we are so excited because it's just you've been for, like, 20 years in a row, right? It is just so many people are there. It's cowboy town, and I'm really I think one of the things I'm most excited about getting to actually go and see walking around the trade shows is the amount of that women in our Western industry are getting now, like whether it's actually being on air for the Cowboy Channel or just like hosting shows. I'm so proud of that. Uh, it gets me so excited. And I don't even know some of these people like personally, but I feel like I know them because I'm like, man, there's more opportunities for women than ever in the Western industry. And that in itself just gets me really excited.
Yes. Okay. I love this conversation. Let's go there because Kenzie, you saw this girl, Kenzie. Do you know her?
Yes.
You just know her through
Just
the
via
PTR?
Instagram.
Okay,
Yeah.
me too. I've met her a few times in person. Every time I meet people in person, it's very strange because I don't know, I think we're all introverted on some level. It's very weird. So I
Right.
met her a few times, but I just saw that she's going to do that for the Cowboy Channel, which is huge and amazing. And then there's all these influencers that are working for these companies. And then there's all these other women that are bringing their companies they get to have a booth this year, or this is their first time. What are a few that you're excited to see? Obviously, Ariat's gonna be there in full style, and Ariat is
Yes.
how do we
So
find Ariat? And then who are you going to see?
yes, let's do area first. As far as finding area, you can find area in a few different places. So the Cowboy Christmas NFR experience that'll be at the Las Vegas Convention Center. There will be two different there'll be more, but like these two booths specifically that have Ariat. So there'll be an Ariat branded booth, like in the center of the convention center, just past the elevators. Lots of new product there. Then there'll be a Cavender's booth on the right hand side of the main aisle. Tons of like casual footwear, new holiday Dixons, and like denim for the whole family. So that's what you can find at Las Vegas Convention Center. Then at the South Point Casino Arena, where they have the World Series of Team Roping going on, David's NRS, there'll be an Ariat denim booth there that's like huge selection of denim. And then there'll also be another one on the Ariat apparel, and that'll include like exclusive World Series team roping, logo items, and footwear. So yeah, we've got all bases covered. And then there'll be people out there, that I feel like are like independent retail partners that are also choosing to set up booths in Vegas that'll have some stuff. So just just look for the three horseshoe symbol, and you won't be sorry when you buy some Ariat this season.
Ariat is the dominator. Are you kidding me? This woman has taken the whole thing and made it into a fun game to try and get her. And
That
the boys are struggling to try and get her. It's fun to watch. I say that from the most loving place, but I get to see it all. I get to see all the thousands of boots that people have overordered right now and they're struggling to get rid of. And there's hundreds of boot companies right now that are sitting on massive amounts of inventory and it's hard. It looks one way to some people. And so this is like the make it or break it Christmas for some of these people. And I'm excited because there's always something new and there's always room for growth. And Area is the leader. And so I'm grateful that you're here today and we're having this conversation. Tell me about what you're wearing to the NFR.
Oh my goodness, Ashley. I was just looking through my closet the other day, and because for the most part, I work from home remotely now, I was like, oh, like for the first time in my life, I really need, not just want, I need to go shopping. I need an overhaul. I've been shopping online with some of my favorite retailers, small business owners, and like High Cole Outfitters, Klein Smith's Western Wear, Broker Leather, just trying to get things sent in here because I'm like, I'm only there for 48 hours, but I can always count on them to have the product that I know I'm gonna feel my best in. But as far as, like, places that I'm really looking forward to seeing and shopping with in Vegas, I always enjoy the, like, Mad Cow Company. I'm not sure if they'll be out there this year or not, but they just have, like, the coolest, like, conchos, jewelry, like, bits, and I just love the way their booth is set up. So I'm hopeful that Mad Cow Company will be out there this year. And yeah, just in general, like getting to walk around and just, I love seeing displays. Like I'm all about product and I'm all about shopping, but I really love how much energy and kind of time that people put into making those displays really unique. For years before I was at Ariat, I worked for my friend Angie Burton, who she manages all the flag girls at the NFR. And so during the day, I would run Angie's booth, and it was called Chicken Coop Couture. And that whole experience just really opened my eyes to, like, I find so much joy in that setup process, the details, and making it like a really fun experience, even if you're just in like a 10 by 10 booth. When somebody walks by and they're like, whoa, I have to come shop this 10 by 10 space with you because of how it looks. Like, I know that sounds silly, but I really enjoyed that. And you get to see a lot of that creativity as you're shopping at the NFR.
Yeah, I think that's the fun. It's like a holiday bazaar, but better. And it's
Yes.
so personality driven and I love it. I actually think that there's an art to it. Some
Yes.
people, there's a rat race if you buy into that, but I think that there's a total art to it. And there's a ton of people that are creating new pathways and new ways of doing things and always innovating things and making it better, making it easier, making it more accessible. So that's fun. I love the Mad Cow Company too. And I know Angie's great. Angie lives in Utah and I'm in Utah right now. And I think Angie is the world, right? She is a woman after our own hearts, right? She loves to help women. She's a champion of all people, but she loves to help women succeed. And yeah, does she still have Chicken Coop Couture?
I don't know if she still has it or not. I feel like she's taken a pause on that the past few years. I know she hadn't had a booth set up at NFR, but I just loved I'd spend my whole paycheck from working at NFR in her booth. I wouldn't make any money. It was just like my way of like affording to buy the stuff in her booth was just to work.
That's exactly
Um,
how most girls get into it. They're like, I want to go to
yeah,
Vegas, work, and spend my whole paycheck there. And that's
yeah,
okay. That's part of the experience. So if you're doing that's okay too. There's room for everybody and don't feel like that's not a fun thing to do because it is.
yeah. And
Dakota.
that made me think too, Ashley, of just another way if somebody's wanting to get into sales and really get some hands-on experience, try working contract labor for some of these different companies in the Western industry. Nothing can really prepare you for what it's like when you're truly in a sales position. But what I will say is when you are brave enough and eager enough to do the grunt work, and that's what it is. When you're setting up and you're tearing down and you've been on your concrete on your feet for 10 days in a row at NFR plus the setup and tear down, like when you're willing to go and do that, you're gonna make some really valuable connections in the industry. And a lot of times it can be as simple as just asking. Like I saw a post the other day, a gal that works for us, she used to work at Rock and Roll, and they like she was like, "Hey, they need help here. We need help there." There are lots of different contract opportunities if you can just, when I say ask the right people, but don't be afraid to reach out to somebody on social that works there and say, "Hey, I'm interested in contract work. Can you point me in the right direction?" Because that is going to give you, it's just going to give you so much experience and help you really decide, do you want to do this? Because it's a wonderful way to meet people, make a living for a lot of people, but it's not as glamorous as some people may think. So it might help you decide a little bit faster if it's really what you want to do or not.
Yeah, for sure. You go put in 10 10s, which 10 10-hour days, or maybe 10 12s or 13s, or maybe 14s. You never know. You could save all night at the NFR, lose your voice, lose everything. But the reality is it will teach you, do you want to do it or not? And it is not for the faint of heart,
Yeah.
but that's the Western industry, right, people? It does look romantic. It does look glamorous from the
Yeah.
outside, but it is a bunch of really hardworking, very gritty, determined, extremely persistent people who are willing to go above and beyond, like you, and teach us about that. I love what you've had to say so far. And I want to talk about, just as we're wrapping up, the
Yeah.
Kickstart guide to securing and retaining sponsorships. I saw you do a post about this. I love
Yeah.
your social media. It's fun. A lot of, I think there's an older and a younger demographic, right, on social media. And I'm learning how to use all the social medias. And TikTok seems, or Instagram seems to be a place where telling a story and understanding someone's narrative of their life is good right now. So if you wanna know what I'm talking about, go to her Instagram. I will link it to there, but go ahead. Let's hear all about it.
Thank you so much, Ashley. I feel the same way trying to figure it out. How do I speak to everyone but make them feel special at the same time? And I really think there's power in using the different social media channels in a way to do that. That really appeals to that certain age demographic or whatnot. But really, the Kickstart guide to securing and retaining sponsorships, this was something that literally, it didn't just happen overnight. But when the thought hit me of like, I've always wanted to give back to the Western industry because, and the people in it, because that's who shaped me really into who I am today. And I just had this like desire to do that. I have a full time career and I'm a wife and a mom. And it's like, how do you, I know that's a calling like God had put on my heart. It's not even just something that like I just felt compelled to do. Like I truly believe like it is a calling for me to give back. And so for years, I was like, how do I take the skills that I have and share this out in a way that could really be a positive, make a positive impact on this industry that I care so much about? And I was driving down the road one day and it was the craziest thing, like windshield time, what it'll do to you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to pull over. I have to write this down right now. But it was this thought that sales skills are life skills. And in order to have sales sponsorship, you need sales skills. Like it's a given. And I feel like that's something people try to make two separate things. Oh, I'm seeking sponsorships, but I don't want to come off as salesy. And so I had those thoughts and I was like, how can I make a positive impact? We need a roadmap. Like we need a roadmap for sponsorships, not just how to secure them, because there's quite frankly a lot of people that know how to secure them, but then like actually retaining those sponsorships and letting them, helping them grow into partnerships. It's to where it's not just transactional. It's very much like we are building something much bigger together. And so that's really where this idea came from. And once I realized that what I wanted to do, then I was coupled with how do I figure this out? I don't have the ability at this point in my life with 2 kids, 4 and 2, and all the other things, like, I can't do one-on-one coaching. I don't have the ability to give a lot of my time to this, but that's where a digital guide, I was like, "You know what? Really and truly, what I wanted 10 years ago, 15 years ago is I just wanted a roadmap and maybe somebody in my ear telling me as I'm following the roadmap." And so what this is when the guide's available, you get this guide that is going to walk you through literally the sales process that I've used for years. And then you're going to have a podcast, a private podcast where I'm talking through each one of the sections, giving some more like real life examples. And this is very much, it is geared and catered to sponsorship. But what I will say is that the people, my hope and my goal is that the ones who invest in this guide, that they don't just apply this to seeking sponsorships, that they start applying this salesman, this sales specialist mentality to everything they do. Because I promise you, like they will see a difference in their day to day life if they start incorporating these different strategies.
I love that. I'm excited, and I will link it. When is it available, or how does it work?
Um, yeah, so it will be available on November 25th. Small Business Saturday is when I'm doing the launch. Just so excited. I'm in the final stages right now, like refining and doing all the things. But yeah, November 25th, Small Business Saturday.
Okay, perfect. I'm excited, and we will keep you up to date and watch my social, watch her social. I'll link your socials. Is there anything you'd like to tell anybody going through the holiday season right now? I know it's, but we have a few minutes left, and is there
Yeah.
something you'd love to share with the people?
Actually, we've said before that I feel like you can sense things about people. And I've had this thought running through my head all day. And I was like, I need to make a blog post or whatever about it. I just haven't. So I'm going to share what's on my heart. if you are listening to this and you are in a season of grief, like you are in a grief journey headed into the holidays, first I want to say to you, you're not alone. There are people out there who are like, they're going through this, maybe the same, they're going through a grief journey, not identical to yours, but you're not alone and that you're traveling that same road. So just know that reach out. Don't feel like you're alone in that. And whew, grief is wild. It is a wild card. And I think as somebody who the holidays bring up so many emotions and so many great emotions, like almost overflowing with joy. But then there's a deep sadness sometimes when you've lost somebody that you care about and they're not there to experience that with you. So I would just say, just know you're not alone and reach out. Reach out to me if you need to, if you're working through that, because it's just a very, I feel like, unique time of year where we see just all the positive stuff on social. And that's really what we all want to share. But sometimes the days are hard and we just need to know that we're not alone.
Oh, that's what I feel. I could feel that there was something good that you had to share. And people are listening. There are hundreds of thousands of people that get in touch with this podcast, and some of them listen, and we're building every single day. So if you loved what you're hearing, make sure you go like this podcast, share it with your friends. Thanks for being on today, Dakota. I'm very grateful.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ashley. It was wonderful. And I look forward to seeing you at the NFR.
Yes, for sure. I will see you at the NFR. We'll catch up after and see how it all goes. This is Ashley on Western Fashion Behind the Scenes. Thanks for listening. This episode of Western Fashion Behind the Scenes is brought to you by the Boot Babes. The Boot Babes are the world's largest Western group of women that love cowboy boots and are fiercely committed to ensuring Western traditions carry on forever. Join the Boot Babes today. Email thebootbabes@gmail.com or go to thebootbabes.com to learn more and see the upcoming trips to Nashville, Wyoming, and other amazing places. See you soon.